been? Hands on the clock, say 3 a.m. Where have you been? Hands on the clock, say 3 a.m. And you're awake. Might be a mistake, but if you're just like me, you're misanthropic. Thoughts just pop up in my head, it's hard to stop it. I might be crazy to some degree, which explains all the lack of company. And now I can't decide whether I live or die. I love you, I hate you, I'm real but I'm fake too. There's no need to panic, don't need no escape route, cause I'm only manic. And every day's a struggle just to live, cause it's hard to wear a smile when you got no fucks to give. I'm only manic. And every day's a struggle just to live, cause it's hard to wear a smile when you got no fucks to give. I'm only manic. Wake up and feel like I barely slept. Haven't even really been myself lately, and I don't think I'm any better yet. I think too much when I'm awake. My dreams become too hard to stay. I reach but feel too far away. My thoughts come from a darker place. The little of me gets riddled with grief, belittled by everything that I think. A little insane, feels like I'm losing control of my brain. Then everything falls apart. Falls apart. I can't decide whether I live or die. I love you, I hate you, I'm real but I'm fake too. There's no need to panic, don't need no escape route, cause I'm only manic. And every day's a struggle just to live, cause it's hard to wear a smile when you got no fucks to give. I'm only manic. And every day's a struggle just to live, cause it's hard to wear a smile when you got no fucks to give. I'm only manic. Where have you been? Hands on the clock, say 3 a.m. Where have you been? Hands on the clock, say 3 a.m. And you're awake. Might be a mistake, but if you're just like me, you're misanthropic. Thoughts just pop up in my head, it's hard to stop it. I might be crazy to some degree, which explains all the lack of company. And now I can't. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Still setting up some stuff, but figured might as well turn on the camera. Hope everybody's doing fine. Yeah, I know, bro. It's the fucking shit that I use for my fucking skin. The unfortunate part of it. Nah, this shit's shiny as fuck, bro. What are you talking about? I think the light kind of hits it in a way. There's a light here. There's a light here, like going from here. The light fucking one here, but yeah, that's what I'm dealing with.
I'll give it like 5 minutes. I'll start at like 5 after. Um, I didn't turn anything on as far as gambling and all that shit. That shit will come on at 7 o'clock. Um, boy, do I have a segment for you guys today. Um, with that than Grubhub, a shiny forehead rather than Grubhub. I think so too, because I just don't like people. And I Grubhub once, and I'll never do it again because I was like, even my lazy ass thought that was pretty lazy. But not only that, it's just they fucked up my order. So I was like, how, you know what? Come on, don't take a genius. Anyways, today's episode will be covering businesses that secretly conducted um with Nazis, the Nazi Party, behind the U.S. government's back. And then to follow up that, um, families that work in the U.S. government who have ties to Nazis and all that good stuff. So, stay tuned for sure. We'll have it'll be an interesting episode. It might be 30 minutes, it might be an hour. We'll see how it goes. I didn't plan for an hour today. I have been running around like crazy, so I just wanted to squeeze in what I could. So, we'll see where we get. Make sure if you guys are following or watching on YouTube, good old CIA Tube, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment. Bring those comments. Just say hello. Just type in hello into the chat, and that's all. You might learn. You might meet a friend. You might not, but it will help me get my numbers up there and boost it. So, every little bit helps, guys. I appreciate it. Rather eating hot dogs backwards, why it's better for you. Yes. Today's topic will be hot dogs. Why you should eat them backwards and how they benefit you. Literally, see, I like. Oh, it's because of the smoke. The light is bringing out the fucking camera. That's crazy. Oh, you see that shit? Look. Tony Montana, what are you doing? All right, we'll give it another 2 minutes and then we'll start. Probably less than 2 minutes, so it's already 6:03. So I'm gonna start. I want to just get this underway. I need a sidekick, man. I need a fucking sidekick. Blitz, wanna be my sidekick, bro? I need somebody to like, you know what I mean? So just banter with, just so we can bounce back and forth. Kind of like an audience member or like a guest on the, you know what I mean? Or even just like the announcer. You could be like something like that. Like, Blitz, do you remember that time when we bombed Hiroshima? And you'd be like, oh yeah, that was a great time. Not. Shit like that. That's what I'm looking for. All right, guys, we're going to start here in less than a minute. If you guys haven't already, make sure you follow me on Twitch. Comment and all that good stuff. Get my numbers up, You help me, I help you. Yeah, make sure you guys follow Blitz. And anti-government. Shout out anti-government. Today's moderator is Blitz Dragon. Everybody say hi to Blitz. Thanks, Blitz, for being in the chat. If you can't stick around, I get it. I'm gonna try to speed through this one though. So it is 5 after, so we are going to get underway. So for those who um, saw my cryptic post. Today we are going to talk about companies and people, political people, I guess I should say, who are involved or have been involved with Nazis. Um, Nazis are bad, and if you don't know what a Nazi is, maybe you should Google it. But it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Okay. So we're gonna start off today with a video that I found that I would like to show everybody. I thought this was pretty. This pretty much covers my first half of the segment. This is just now everything in this video is true. I've looked it up. These are all factual things that are being said. But in a cartoon, so what's more fun than a cartoon? Show people that, killed people. I don't know. Anyways, so the title of this video is called Modern Companies That Collaborated with Nazis During World War II. Alright, if you guys noticed, it's got some pretty colors. Alright, so here we go. Let's start it off.
Would you buy products from a company that collaborated with the Nazis during World War II? What if that company paid reparations or started a foundation as a way to apologize for the mistakes of the past? Or what if the company refused to apologize or admit they did anything wrong? Would you still buy their products? We're about to look at several companies that had ties to the Nazi Party or profited by selling products to the Nazis during World War II.
These are all true facts, so just pay attention, everybody.
Today, and we can almost guarantee you own one or more of their products. Let's find out which ones. If you've ever taken a picture using old school film, you've probably bought a product from Kodak. For decades after World War II, Kodak kept a sinister secret from the public. They had been Nazi collaborators during the war. Kodak had subsidiaries in Germany and across Europe. Even
Kodak, the Kodak moments, those beautiful Kodak moments.
Kodak kept healthy business relationships with the Nazi Party. After all-out war broke out and the United States joined the Allies, the U.S. government mandated that companies could no longer do business with Axis nations.
They told people in this country
internationally. Kodak being
and companies
Kodak allowed their German
not
branch to become more self-sufficient, and eventually the Nazis took control of it. However, Kodak took things one step further to make a profit. They began using their subsidiaries in neutral European countries, such as Switzerland, to continue doing business with Nazi Germany. The subsidiaries in Europe continued selling photographic equipment and electronics to the Nazis on behalf of Kodak. This meant that the Kodak Corporation was directly providing technology to the Nazis and making a profit off it, all while hiding these facts from the United States government. The heads of the Kodak company justified these actions by citing the massive profits they were bringing in. Worst of all, the German branch of Kodak used over 250 slave laborers from concentration camps. After the war, Kodak reclaimed their German subsidiary and collected the large profits made by the slave laborers during the war. Kodak ended up paying $500,000 into a fund, which provided reparations to families of people who worked as slaves under the Nazi-controlled subsidiary, but the company never actually apologized.
All right, we're gonna pause that real quick. So basically, the U.S. government during World War II put out, saying, "Hey, we are not allowed to do business. We're not allowed to do all this shit. So you can't fucking do business with them because we're at war, and they are the enemy." Which, rightfully so, because the Nazis were fucking killing people, mostly Jews. And, they were getting away with it. So, Kodak decided to move, if you guys heard. They moved all their shit overseas, and they still conducted business. So that's the guy who is behind this is just a fucking evil man. So whoever, was the head snake of this guy, fucking business, it's wild.
Volkswagen is clearly a German word, and it probably doesn't surprise you that the company had ties to the Nazi Party. However, what might surprise you is that the company was actually started by the Nazis. Adolf Hitler himself laid out the precursor to what would become Volkswagen.
True.
The idea for the company started
Check it out.
with
I'm telling
Hitler
you.
wanting to create
Just
a car
look
for
it
the
up,
common
guys.
man,
It's
a
all
people's
there.
car. And this is how Volkswagen got its name. Volks meaning people and wagon meaning car. Hitler hired Ferdinand Porsche to develop the car. This initiative was where the classic Volkswagen Beetle got its shape. But the new head of the organization, which would eventually become Volkswagen, had bigger plans. Porsche insisted that the company also make military vehicles to support the Reich. The most influential of these vehicles was the Volkswagen Kubelwagen, which was a light military vehicle often seen in World War II movies, carrying around SS and Nazi officers. It had a boxy body and a tire mounted on the hood. During the time period that the Nazi parties controlled Germany,
Oh, we got hit with an ad. 1 second.
more than 50 slaves from concentration camps were used to build the Volkswagen cars. The company even helped build the Arbeitsdorf concentration camp near one of their main factories to ensure a steady supply of slave labor was available. In 1998, under pressure from human rights organizations, Volkswagen agreed to create a fund that would benefit the victims and their families that were used as slave labor. Other companies benefited from large profits gained by
This
working
was
with the Nazis
huge.
in a
This
different
was
way.
huge.
Several companies were started or acquired by wealthy individuals whose fortune started with the money made from dealing with the Nazi Party. For example, the Ryman family, who owns JAB Holdings, profited greatly from Nazi abuses and slave labor. You might be unfamiliar with JAB Holdings, but you probably know the companies they own, such as Krispy Kreme, Panera Bread, and Pret a Manger. These companies were all created post-World War II. However, their financing was partly provided by JAB Holdings, which unfortunately means they profited indirectly from the atrocities of the Nazis. When this information was made public, the Ryman family said they were planning to donate around $11 million to suitable organizations. Coca-Cola is an American company. People
Okay, before we go on with Coca-Cola. That's crazy, right, dude? All these companies, although they are, outside of, what's going on, they are all profiting through fucking the Nazi Party, which is fucking crazy. And we fucking allow this shit. We tell these people, hey, go out and buy this shit. Go out and eat here. Go out and support these people. Krispy Kreme, you know what I mean? Come on. KK, Krispy Kreme. You only need one goddamn letter. You know what I mean? Come on.
People around the world associate Coke with being American. When you think of the soda, an image of American families or friends enjoying an ice-cold beverage probably comes to mind. However, the Coca-Cola company had ties to the Nazi Party during World War II. The drink line Fanta, which includes commercials of people happily dancing to upbeat music,
Fanta?
was actually
Don't you
created
wanna?
for Nazi Germany. As the Nazis came to power in 1933, Coca-Cola was making enormous profits in Germany, selling their products under the leadership of Max Keith. He made the Coca-Cola brand more appealing to the German citizen, which resulted in a boost in sales. He also knew how to market the product in a way that would make people around the world want to buy Coca-Cola. During the 1936 Berlin Olympics, Max Keith made sure everyone in attendance had as much Coke as they could drink. As the Nazis prepared for war, they started to limit the amount of foreign goods coming into the country. This included Coca-Cola syrup, which began to hurt the company's profits. So the sneaky Coke executives used a third party to open a dialogue with Hermann Göring, Hitler's second-in-command. They convinced him to allow the import of their syrup. To boost sales even further, Keith began
Nazis
promoting the
and
Coca-Cola
Coca-Cola
company as pro-Nazi in Germany.
Because
His plan
of
was to
Fanta.
reach out to the Hitler Youth and win over the younger generation of Nazis. And this worked for a time, but as war broke out, restrictions on imports became stricter again. Max Keith had a new syrup created in Germany using local products. This new soda became Fanta, based off the German word fantasy, which means imagination. In 1941, when the United States joined the war, all official contact between the Coca-Cola Company and Max Keith's German branch was cut off. Keith continued to sell his supply of actual Coca-Cola syrup to the Nazi Party members and marketed the Fanta drink to the German public. The German people quickly fell in love with the drink, and Keith continued to make large profits for the Coca-Cola Company. After the war ended, Coca-Cola took back control of their German branch. They even reinstated the recently convicted Nazi collaborator Max Keith as its leader. The profits made from the German branch during the years of the Nazi regime were funneled back into the main company. If you're into high-end fashion,
So, Coca-Cola, this is all factual information for those. And yes, Blitz, there was actual cocaine for a minute, but that's beside the stuff. Okay, so that's, you know, we're almost done through this video, so we'll I'll skim through it. Not skim through it. We're gonna power through it now, but this is crazy, dude. This is insane. Because they were losing money, we were losing money, and you know, America can't lose money, or else they can't be America. God forbid, you know, the richest fucking country in the world loses a bit of money, you know. But so yeah, Americans did this. Okay, the Americans decided to sell the syrup to the Germans in a different name, Fanta, and now look, you know what I mean? Then what happened? All that money helped the fucking Nazi party get more money for weapons and anything and everything that they needed. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, we are in debt, which is why, if you think about it, dude, China is probably the biggest fucking army. We might be advanced in some ways, but China has us by like maybe 10-1. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. It's scary. It's fucking scary. And everybody's like, oh, they'll never invade us, but never fucking say never. All right, let's keep going through this. This one's almost done.
Then you might be surprised that one of the most successful fashion companies in the world has deep ties to the Nazi Party. Hugo Boss set up a fashion label in Germany 2 years before the Nazi Party
Boss
came to
jeans.
power. Even before the Nazis gained control of the country, Hugo Boss was a Nazi collaborator. The company itself had produced early Nazi uniforms in their factories. In 1931, Hugo Boss made it clear where his allegiances lie when he officially joined the Nazi Party. He became a sponsoring member of the Schutzstaffel and made monthly donations. Hugo Boss and his company created many uniforms for the Nazis and made large profits on outfitting their soldiers. The company also produced uniforms for the SS and Hitler Youth. In order to keep up with demand, Hugo Boss had been employing slave labor from the concentration camps. It was reported that the company used 140 slaves from the camps and 40 prisoners of war from France to make their products. The worst part was that many of these workers were either worked to death or later sent to Auschwitz or Buchenwald to be sentenced to death. After the war, Hugo Boss was tried and convicted for being a supporter and beneficiary of National Socialism, and his right to own a company was taken away. The company continued under Boss's son-in-law, Eugen Holy. In 1999, the company finally agreed to pay into a fund that was set up to compensate former slave laborers. If you've ever had a headache or needed relief from pain,
Hugo Boss. That's just one. That's just one company who hasn't been fucking thrown under the bus yet. You know what I mean? Because now you see it every day. Now, not every day, but Victoria's Secret, the head of the fucking company, Lex Wexler, ended up being a child fucking rapist. I think American Eagle and Hollister, they were in it. Now Gucci, Fendi, Balenciaga, all have ties to child raping. You know what I mean? So it's fucking disgusting. All these companies, you know, they profit off of fucking slavery or killing. That's okay. That's okay. Are you guys okay with that shit? You know what I mean? You are, then I guess okay, but I'm not.
The company that
You're in the
makes
wrong
the
fucking
pain reliever
podcast.
may have one of the darkest histories when it comes to collaborating with the Nazi Party.
Yeah.
In the 1930s,
Think about
Bayer
this.
was part of a company called
Every time you
IG
take an
Farben.
aspirin,
It was a conglomerate
you're
made up of
supporting the
several chemical
Nazis.
companies in Germany. As the Nazis swept through Czechoslovakia, IG Farben worked closely with the party to capture chemical factories to be used by the corporation. The chemists who worked for Bayer and were employed by IG Farben later went on to create Zyklon B, the gas used in concentration camps to quickly kill large numbers of Jews and other people the Nazis labeled as undesirable. IG Farben also heavily used slave labor from the same camps they provided Zyklon B to. It was a very messed up relationship between the Nazis and IG Farben. They built a factory next to Auschwitz where they would use the prisoners their product would later kill for slave labor. As the war came to an end, IG Farben was forced to dissolve. The directors of the company were put on trial for war crimes. Unfortunately, justice was never served, and Fritz Tamir, who was the director of operations at the IG Farben facility at Auschwitz, became the president of Bayer after the war. In 1995, Bayer apologized for their role in the Holocaust. If you're watching this video, you most likely are using a device that has components built by IBM. The company, International Business Machines, has been around since 1911. In 1933, the president of the company, Thomas Watson, traveled to Germany to oversee an IBM factory being built there. At this time, IBM was using a subsidiary called the Almag to do their work in Germany. IBM's subsidiary had been hired by the Nazi Party to carry out a nationwide census. The census itself was designed to identify populations of ethnic groups that the Nazis found impure or undesirable. This included populations of Jews, Gypsies, and any ethnic group that would dilute the area.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. The U.S. also did that with Japanese people and shit like that, and Chinese people. They've always done it, but they've been fucking doing this for years. Okay, when Japan and all that shit, they were provoking them. They would depict these people as rice pickers with, you know, squinted eyes and large teeth. This was in our fucking newspapers, and people were, you know, okay with it. This was how people lived. You know, this is nothing new.
And bloodlines of the country. IBM supplied the Nazis with punch cards and a sorting system that would make it easy for them to identify, locate, and track any people that they'd later sentence to death. These same machines and cards were later converted and used to coordinate the trains bringing people to the death camps across Nazi-controlled territories. IBM's come a long way since punch cards, but at the time the technology was bringing in massive amounts of money for the company. IBM continued to conduct business with the Germans even after the US joined the war. High-ranking members of IBM falsified data from their European subsidiaries to make sure they could smuggle in punch card materials and devices that were in high demand by the Nazis. For IBM at the time, the Nazi business of killing was highly lucrative. During World War II, Nazi Germany was IBM's largest territory after the United States. Now many computers and electronic devices use parts created by IBM. The crazy part is that up to this day, IBM has not apologized for their complicity in the Holocaust. A company's main purpose is to make money, but at what cost? It's important to never forget the past so we don't repeat the same mistakes. Collaborating with the Nazi Party and being complicit in the atrocities they carried out during World War II is a steep price to pay to make a profit. Now check out oldest companies.
Okay, so that's something I'm sure people didn't know. You know what I mean? Did you guys know that? Some of the when I saw that this morning, I was like, holy shit. I knew about Fanta. I knew about the BMW and the VW and shit like that. But I didn't know about all this shit. So when I saw that this morning, I was like, no fucking way. Of course, you know, I did my research. I checked everything. Of course, you know. To my surprise, everything was true. This is all fucking true. So, take it or leave it, but this is our country. Disgusting. Alright, the second portion of this stream is about the well-known family. You might have heard of them, you might not have, but they are known as the Bush family. Yes, that same exact fucking Bush that you all think about when you hear Bush. And no, not your fucking mother's vagina, okay? As in George W. Bush, and if I had to clarify, you know, the president who was, you know, in office during 9/11, the son of George Herbert Walker Bush, and the grandson, well, George Bush's GW, his grandfather, was Prescott Bush. And Prescott Bush was one of the biggest financiers of the Nazi Party. And the Bush family fucking benefited off of that. And during the Holocaust, they made a lot of fucking money. And this is pretty much how they made a name for themselves and why they're still around, because of, you know, the Nazis. So when you guys go around thanking presidents for their, you know, heroic fucking lifestyles or whatever they do, just remember that, you know, a lot of them were fucking slave owners. You know what I mean? 1776. And then 1865 when they finally abolished slavery. And it took years after that for it to actually go through. So almost 100 fucking years. So between then, we had, Jackson, fucking Washington, of course, and all those motherfuckers. But Thomas Jefferson, yes, Thomas Jefferson. I forgot. Thomas Jefferson owned slaves, and he fucked them. And he also did some fucking experiments on them. They found fucking like 20 dead bodies under his house when they fucking dug up the archaeological spot, whatever it was. Underneath his house. Benjamin Franklin, the guy who fucking tied a key to a goddamn kite. You know what I mean? Crazy. Anyways, back to the Bush family. So this one I've known about. I just wasn't sure when I wanted to kind of unveil it and use it as a, a segment. But this is from WSW, the World Socialist website. It's called The Holocaust and the Bush Family Fortune. All right, it starts off, as George W. Bush delivers his eulogy today. This was written December 5th, 2018. So, it's dated. As George W. Bush delivers his eulogy today at the official National Day of Mourning ceremony in Washington for his father, George H.W. Bush, the culmination of 5 days of nonstop lies about the deceased war criminal and anti-working class reactionary, it is fitting that we repost a commentary published in 2003 dealing with the one critical aspect of the actual record of the Bush family. This article exposes the fact, well known to the corporate media and the politicians of both parties, that a substantial portion of the Bush family fortune was derived from the extensive business relations over many years between the Nazis and the family patriarch Prescott Bush, George Bush Sr.'s father, George Bush Sr.'s father, and Jr.'s grandfather. The lucrative financial dealings of the banker turned U.S. senator with Hitler's fascist party and its corporate sponsors in Germany continued into the war years. Thus, the family millions that gave George H.W. Bush and his children a life of privilege and boosted their political careers are bounded up with mass murder and torture of the millions of victims of the Holocaust and the German imperialist rape of Europe. Okay, it says a presidential visit to Auschwitz, the Holocaust, and the Bush family fortune by Bill Van Auken, 5 June 2003. History, it starts off quoted, history is a reminder of what's possible. These were the words spoken by President George W. Bush as he emerged from a guided tour of the gas chambers at Auschwitz. The former Nazi death camp in Poland was one of the first stops of his 7-day tour of Europe and the Middle East. What precisely the U.S. president meant by this banal comment is not clear. However, given Bush's political record, assembly line executions in Texas, Guantanamo's Camp X-Ray, the indefinite imprisonment of the U.S. citizens without charges, 2 preemptive wars, it could be open to the most sinister of interpretations, which is possible because, fucking dark. They are dark motherfuckers. This whole country is run by evil motherfuckers. They're twisted. Okay? There is no doubt that the visit to Auschwitz was choreographed to serve immediate policy objectives, invoking the horrors of Hitler's concentration camps to further an agenda of militarism and domestic repression. Perhaps no greater disservice could be done to the memory of the 6 million Jews and the millions of others who were murdered by the Nazis. I think it was like up to 13 million or some shit like that were killed in Russia from Nazis. So that's crazy. And then like 600,000 Americans, I think, something like that. In a speech delivered in Krakow the same day, Bush declared that the concentration camps remind us that evil is real and must be called by name and must be opposed. He continued, Having seen the works of evil firsthand on this continent, we must never lose the courage to oppose it everywhere. Funny, right? Okay. It says, the cause of the Holocaust, Bush suggested, was evil. For the U.S. president to use the word evil serves to cover up a multitude of his sins. He has used it repeatedly to describe the Islamic fundamentalist group that carried out the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. On numerous occasions, he has referred to the leaders of Al-Qaeda as the evil one. This particular expression serves a very immediate political purpose, since it avoids naming Osama bin Laden and thereby calling to mind the long-standing business association between the Bushes and the wealthy bin Laden family of Saudi Arabia. The existence of evil constitutes the explanation given by the Bush administration for the emergence of Islamic fundamentalist terrorism. Such a semi-mystical and religious presentation, which of course assumes that the United States government embodies good, has the advantage of precluding any consideration of politics or history. In particular, it obscures the role played by the U.S. foreign policy. Washington's alliance with Washington's alliance with despotic oil-rich regimes, such as the one in Saudi Arabia, U.S. sponsorship of the Afghan Mujahideen, the CIA's covert war against secular nationalists and socialist groups in the Middle East, the unconditional support for Israel's against the Palestinians in creating the social and political constitutions and conditions in which retrograde tendencies like Al-Qaeda could grow. The use of the word evil serves a familiar function in the case of the Holocaust. This attempt to obscure the social, political, and economic roots of the rise of fascism in Europe in the 1930s and the horrific crimes that followed is not unique to Bush. The adoption of anti-communism as the core of the post-World War II U.S. ideology made by analysis of the anti-socialist roots of fascism inconvenient. Rather, communism and fascism were equated as totalitarian and evil. Fascism is the continuation of capitalism, an attempt to perpetuate its existence by the most... Whoa. Hold on. So, bestial should have been spelled differently. So, okay, it says, to perpetuate his existence by the most bestial and monstrous measures, wrote Leon Trotsky on the eve of his assassination in 1940. Capitalism obtained an opportunity to restore and resort to fascism only because the proletariat did not accomplish the socialist revolution in time. All right, so pretty much everything that has gone on between 1940, well, even in the 30s, but most of this was all fucking covered by or paid for by the Bush family. Herbert Walker Bush fucking pretty much walked in, and because of his dealings with, certain businesses, he had ties to it. And it's known that during Bush's second run, as he tried to run for president for the second term, people used this against him. But because America doesn't know how to fucking talk or, think for themselves, they just watch it and they're like, oh yeah, they're probably just talking shit. They just want to make him look bad. But they told the truth on TV, and nobody fucking believed it. People were like, oh yeah, the Third Reich this, Hitler that, Heinrich Himmler, Bush is connected to all these motherfuckers, dude, and it's disgusting, okay? And I don't know if you guys knew this, but during the attacks, I don't know if you guys remember September 11th, any like vividly, at all, but I was, 45 minutes away from that fucking attack, and they locked down the base instantly. Nobody could leave the base. Nobody could come in. They locked down all airspace. Nobody could fucking travel in that area. And then it just went nationwide. So nobody was flying around. But Air Force One had the fucking Bin Laden family flying around, waiting for them to find a way to get out because, they fucking did it. You know what I mean? People want to go and play and blame Afghanistan. Afghanistan had a very small part of this, if any. You know what I mean? The Bin Laden family is based in Saudi. They were, from Saudi, and these motherfuckers constructed a giant fucking mass murder together, and nobody has blamed them. 11 nationalists from Saudi were fucking arrested for this, but they all just like, oh, Americans just like, oh, they got tan skin, they're Muslim, oh, they got to be from Afghanistan or Iraq, Nope, they're fucking, people are fucking stupid in this country, okay? Anyways, so I'm not even going to continue that article. So, just so you guys know, Prescott Bush is a fucking Nazi, which means, there's a possibility that George Bush is a fucking Nazi. You know what I mean? Or at least a goddamn sympathizer. It's country, bro. I find out more and more shit about this country every day, and it just makes me, not about the country, the government. The government, you know what I mean? It's the government doing this, not the country. The people are fucking literally, they're tied into the TV and into politics because they think it matters, but then they all just go back to work and blindly serve. I'm not doing that shit. You want me to fucking serve you? You got to do something for me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to fucking go down and have you fucking treat me like a goddamn slave. So fuck you, okay? Fuck you. That's all I got to say for this stream. The stream's over, guys. So, thanks for sticking around. This was just got a little short excerpt. Next week we'll probably get a little more extensive. I got an idea for next week. But, yeah. There it is. Alright, guys. I will catch you guys in a little bit. I will transit over to video games. So, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You guys stay safe out there, and, don't trust your government. And taxation is theft. So